you look at different fabrics. I know many people love to use this particular type of satin. You know what satin is? Anyone?
Yeah, it's like silk but stronger.
Yeah. People love to use this piece of satin. Grrr! When you use this satin, it's a huge problem. Then people ask me, but I want the elegant look. Go to the shop and ask for this sort of satin. It's very matte, but when you wear them and you swing them around, it looks gorgeous. This one looks cheap. Ta-da-da, it's like flashing people, I've got very nice satin there. No, you just have, this one is cheap, yes. This is more expensive. Duchess satin, the most expensive Duchess satin I come across is about £15 per metre, but you can easily get them at Tooting Broadway or Shepherd's Bush for about £4 per metre. So yeah, the places to go is definitely Goldhart Road at Shepherd's Bush. You definitely get what you need. But this one here is called Duchess satin. Duchess because it's of a high grade, and also because it's got a slightly matte feel to it. But in photographs, this is more outstanding. Now I know cosplayers, think about photography, and for me when I make my costume, I always imagine and think about how much light is going to be at the event or the photo shoot I'm going to be at. And I'll go according to what this piece of fabric looks like on a picture with flash on it. So every time I go to a shop to buy fabric, I will always take pictures and shoot them so that the flash throws on the fabric to see the color is accurate. Sometimes you see in real life and be like, it's much darker. Yes, it's of course much darker, but when you do flash, you'll see that it's completely different. Yeah. Duchess satin and this soap satin. You'll come across furs. I'm not sure how many of you love to use furs. Yeah? Okay, this is a fake piece of fur, not real. But there's a way and a method to cut fur. You don't usually cut it from the front. Yeah, you fray everything. You go, oh, pieces are falling off. The trick is to flip it behind, pull the threads apart, and snip only this back line here. And all your furs will be nice and even. For example, like that. Of course, some bits will fall off, but... Thank you. Do you like that? This is how you cut fur, yeah? Grab this piece, snip only the back line. Not touching the furs in the front. And there you have a nice clean line. Of course some bits do fall off, but it's not as bad as cutting the middle here. You have the nice sharp edge as well. Yeah, so that's the method to cut fur. Yeah? The best sort of materials I would suggest a new cosplayer to use is definitely cotton. It may not look as good at first, but it helps you to keep everything together. When you go to machine and everything, you find it's so easy to iron. Every time you make a costume, do iron when you want a line. Some people go like, oh, I'm just going to pin it like that. It looks horrible. What it does is it makes your costume look really big and rough. It doesn't make your costume look nice and flat and neat. All you need to do is iron. You have to keep your iron at the side with you, yeah? I didn't bring my iron today. But cotton is the best. If you want to make jackets and stuff, go for either canvas, twill, or wool. Not canvas, but this is like a sort of really thick kind of fabric. And anything about this kind of thickness would be really good for jackets and wool. Then this is canvas. This is what you put inside the jacket, but this is really hard to use. For anyone who's advancing cosplaying and want to know how to line your jackets, you can ask me after this and I can teach you how to line your fabric, yeah? And this is sponge. It's something I love to use. For example, like OBs. Do you know OBs? For women, yeah? People go like, oh, my OB looks flat. Why does it have wrinkles and stuff? What I'll do in my OBs, I always put this inside. I will make two sides. I'll bag it out, make it like a cut, stitch 3/4 round, stuff this in the middle, and flip it inside out. So what it does is a really nice piece of flat thing. People look at it and go, oh, it's just a fabric. No, there's actually just something there. This is the cheating thing that makes your OB look really flat and nice. For any woman who wants to do OBs, yeah. This is stretch fabric. For newbies or people who are still new to cosplay and want to try, do not use stretch for your first costume. Please do not use stretch. You will find yourself crying and telling yourself, I'm going to quit cosplay right this instant. Yeah, stretch has got a very different way of sewing it. Yes, it's the same machine, but the control is different, the foot is also different. So if you want to learn stretch, you might want to come to me after class. I can explain to you how to get the foot for stretch fabrics. And also, this is corduroy. It's good for Western cosplays, but according to the patterns that you guys might need. So that's generally about fabrics. But there's one thing about fabric I need everyone to understand before I go into how to make a sleeve, and a proper one. People have problems fitting in sleeves, and they go like, oh, I can try for ages and I die from it. There is a special way to do sleeves. A way in which you can easily just put it on, you see a nice sleeve shape. I'm going to do that right now. But the basics of that, you have to understand this. You know woven fabrics, yeah? This can only be done with woven fabrics. For stretch fabrics, well, that's a different story. Woven fabrics. You know that this is the vertical, that's the horizontal. It's always sewn this way, yeah? Straight on, goes on like that. So this part is not stretchy. Neither is this part stretchy. Can't really be stretched. But because of its little squares and squares, the diagonals can be stretched. This is what we call the bias. Yeah? So sometimes you do not necessarily need stretch fabrics. You can always use a normal woolen fabric on the bias. So what you need to do, if you want to make a pattern, you will just have to flip your whole fabric to a diagonal, and then put your piece of cloth on top, and cut the shape out. When you make it, you realize it's actually stretchy. You realize, oh, my sleeve can stretch nicely. So with this in mind, I'm going to teach you how to do the sleeve, and you'll know why it works. So this goes. There are many types of ways to do a sleeve, but this one method I think is the best for anyone who wants to try. Here we go. I'm going to cut this fabric. We'll lay it flat. When you place the fabric on top, always work from top to the bottom of the fabric. Don't try to work in the middle of the fabric or the bottom of the fabric. Yeah? You've got to start from the top, because then you know how much cloth you need. You can save on that. Line it really parallel to the table so you know where you're going. Then just draw the piece. For cosplays, I'm not too concerned about pattern and stuff yet.
No, I can't see it, but how she can, so that's what I'm getting at. There you go.
Bear in mind, it might seem obvious, but sleeve is not actually a tube. It is a lollipop shape. For the extra room at the top and the
Cosplay.
You can also get some sleeves that are curved. Yeah.
This is a normal straight sleeve cut for anyone who has straight sleeves, because this one is the easiest to manipulate. To change the other things, as long as you understand the basics.
Shape it. It's good. So you do a sleeve like that.